Could we see a Russell Wilson and Courtland Sutton reunion on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Ever since Broncos wide receiver Courtland Sutton opted not to show up for voluntary offseason workouts, signaling that he wants a new contract, the trade rumors have been running pretty wild here in the Mile High City, and one rumor is now starting to gain some steam. According to this tweet from Jarrett Bailey, NFL writer for USA Today and deputy editor for Behind the Steel Curtain, he's being told that the Steelers have called the Broncos and have inquired about Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton and Russell Wilson worked really well together last year, especially on 50-50 ball situations. You think about the insane catches in the end zone that Courtland Sutton had in Kansas City and in Buffalo last year. Those are the kind of plays where Russell Wilson and Courtland Sutton really can make magic happen. They are really kind of the perfect fit for each other. Russell Wilson, a quarterback who thrives out of structure and in chaos and can give Courtland those 50-50 ball opportunities, and we saw last year especially that Courtland Sutton took advantage of them to a T. Courtland Sutton and Russell Wilson's connection was really the strongest thing that the Broncos offense had going for it, especially in the passing game. So if the Steelers want to recreate that magic here in Pittsburgh, or there in Pittsburgh, that would be an interesting possibility. The Steelers parted ways with Deontay Johnson this offseason, sending him to the Carolina Panthers. They also still have George Pickens on the roster, who is a somewhat similar type of player than Courtland Sutton, but I feel like Courtland Sutton can be a little bit more dependable in these tough 50-50 ball, jump ball situations, and Russell Wilson has always thrived when he's had a receiver like that in his arsenal of weaponry. So if we take a look at what the potential compensation would be here, that's where I think things might hit a little bit of a snag, and that's why I feel like odds might be a little bit lower that Courtland Sutton goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers because they don't have a 5th round draft pick, and that's probably what you're realistically going to get for Courtland Sutton on the trade market. We've talked about it before, how this wide receiving class is extraordinarily deep, and a lot of teams may not be in favor of burning draft capital on a player who's getting expensive and aging. Courtland Sutton is about to be on the wrong side of 30, and if you think about it, you could get a really solid player of similar value as Courtland Sutton in the later rounds of the draft. That's how deep this wide receiving class is. So because of that, I think that Courtland Sutton's value on the trade market is going to be a little bit diminished, and 5th round pick I feel like is the lowest I would be comfortable trading or acquiring to get Courtland Sutton out of the building. That would be the lowest end of compensation for Courtland Sutton that I would be comfortable with. Otherwise, the Denver Broncos would just be better off keeping Courtland Sutton on the roster and allowing him to develop with their young quarterback on the roster if they draft him, or if that young quarterback is, God forbid, Zach Wilson. But I still strongly believe that that's not going to be the case. That's another video, though. All right, Broncos country, how would you feel if the Pittsburgh Steelers were to acquire Courtland Sutton in a trade? And do you feel like what they have in terms of draft capital is going to be sufficient enough to move the needle? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. Also, guys, we will be live for all 3 days of the 2024 NFL Draft here on Broncos Syndicate, bringing you informative and in-depth coverage as the Broncos make every single pick, as well as every other pick made by the 31 other teams in the NFL. So it's going to be an absolute grind. 3 days of non-stop streaming. It is absolutely nuts. So hopefully you guys check it out, and you can tune in whenever you guys are able to, because I know that it is an absolute grind to be able to be on live for all 3 days of the draft. All right, guys. Also, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel if you have yet to do so. We are about to hit 3,000 subscribers. I'm hoping that maybe we can hit it by the end of the week. All right, guys. And until next time, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.